What the hell is up? Woke up this morning having an awesome hair day, obviously, so I thought it'd be a good idea to film a little tutorial. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and today I'm gonna teach you
how to do a girl voice.
So by the way, just before I get into the video, I just want to say I made this tutorial with a few different people in mind. I made this for any boy that just wants to learn how to sound a little bit more feminine. I also hope that I can possibly help any trans people who watch this that would like to learn how to just pass a little bit better. And finally, anyone who just wants to f around with their friends, I got you. So let's get into it. All right, so I think the first thing that I'm just gonna go over real quick before I actually tell you how to do the voice itself is I'm gonna go over a couple common mistakes that I think people make when they're trying to achieve a more feminine voice. All right, so I think the first big mistake that people make is that they think that a high voice equals a girl voice. That's just not really how it works. There's a lot more that goes into kind of how a voice is shaped, and it's not just pitch, which is making your voice higher or lower. Kind of going off that note, the second common mistake is that when people are trying to do a girl voice, they very often will go into their falsetto, kind of hollow, real high voice, like this. And basically, when you're trying to do a girl voice, you want to just stay out of the falsetto range. It just makes you sound like a dude doing a funny voice. Just use your voice, and we're going to learn how we can control the pitch without going to those kind of super high, hollow notes. So the next thing we got to kind of think about here is what exactly shapes a voice. There's a few aspects that I think you can change that can actually make you sound more feminine. So I think the first big aspect of a voice that we can change is the resonance, and more specifically, where that resonance is taking place. So resonance is simply the collective vibration of your vocal cords and the surrounding tissue that creates that kind of full vocal sound that is your voice. And where that resonance happens in your throat is very important for how you sound. So for example, most male-born people will have the location of their resonance be lower in their throat, and people with a higher voice or more feminine voices will be resonating that voice in the upper part of their throat. So the question becomes, how do we control that? The answer to that question is that you need to learn how to contract the muscles in your throat, more specifically the muscles in your pharyngeal wall. How do we do that? I have a really good trick that I learned that helps me kind of gauge where in my throat that I'm going to be resonating from. So the thing I like to do is I open my mouth, kind of like I'm going to the dentist, and then I flick my throat right here. And you're gonna hear it kind of like hollow noise, like this. So what you want to do now is make that sound as high a pitch as possible. So try it with me. So I'm flicking my throat, and I'm contracting the muscles in my pharyngeal wall, and what that's doing is it's pushing that sound up here into the top of my throat. And now if you get up into that range and then you speak, try it out, see what happens.
And then we hold it and we speak up here.
All right, so that is how I like to control my pitch. So I think another really important aspect of everyone's voice that you can change to make yourself sound more feminine is your cadence. So what is cadence? Cadence is essentially the manner in which the words flow out of your mouth. That can mean anything from the pauses that you choose to incorporate, the emphasis that you put on certain words, the emphasis that you put on certain letters or sounds, or the musicality or the sing-songiness of your voice. So these all kind of play into cadence, and this really affects, honestly, like the flavor of how you sound. I don't really know how else to put it, but that's kind of what I would say. It's the flair, it's the kind of style. So oftentimes a traditional girl voice will have a very distinct emphasis on certain words, and also a very sing-songy kind of up-down in volume and in pitch. Let me show you an example. So if I just kind of like talk a little bit more like this, and like pause like here and there, and like emphasize things especially, like you can see I sound like already like a little more feminine. So that was just an example. I think men, when they talk, traditional male voices are very consistent and don't really vary too much. All right, so let's try incorporating the contraction of the pharyngeal wall with our kind of emphasis and sing-songy cadence that we've been talking about. All right, so let's get into that range.
So like now, that kind of sing-songy voice, it really starts sounding like a girl.
All right, so the last thing I'm gonna tell you is gonna sound a little corny. You've heard it before, but honestly, the biggest thing that helped me was practice. It doesn't feel like something that you can just practice and it'll get easier, but it will, and it does. It's a muscle, it's like a skill, and you train it. So honestly, what I did for real is I just walked around my house and talked like a girl to myself all the time. I just narrated what I was doing. If you just do that and you just say everything you're doing all the time, constantly in a girl voice, it will get better. It will get easier. It will get better. You will feel extremely silly practicing this. Get over it, all right? It's just the nature of the game. You're gonna feel silly anytime you try and do a voice that's not yours. And also, you're gonna sound bad. You're gonna sound like a dude doing a weird voice at first, like you're not gonna sound like a girl for the first 20 times you try it. You might not even sound different, but I'm telling you, if you keep doing it, if you keep trying and you use kind of the tips I was showing you, that it will get easier. It is a skill and you'll learn how to do it. So anyway, please subscribe and like the video and check out my other videos if you haven't. And yeah, hope y'all have a good day.